Hi everybody and welcome to my kitchen. Today I want to show you another one of my Peruvian recipes. We're going to be making some Asado de Res, which basically means a beef pot roast. This is what it looks like. Let's have a look at the ingredients that we're going to need. This is some dried Aji Panca, which I found hidden in my pantry. It's a delicious dried pepper. It's quite smoky in flavor and it brings a lot of richness as well, and it's a very key ingredient in a lot of Peruvian cuisine. It is not the easiest to get a hold of. I was only able to get this from my family. This is what the tomato paste, cayenne pepper and smoked paprika is for. It's kind of a replacement. So if you can't get your hands on that, then this is still accessible to you. You can make this dish using this substitution. Today I'll be using both. You might remember we also used the substitution when I was making my papa rellena. If you want to check out the recipe, click the link up here. Okay, we're gonna start with the marinade, which is super easy. First, I'm just gonna peel and crush some garlic. With that done, I'm gonna add in my vinegar and my spices. So I've got my cumin, cayenne, smoked paprika, oregano, which I'm gonna crush in between my palms, and finally the tomato paste. And I'm gonna whisk it all really well. I'm also gonna add a pinch of pepper. Okay, and that's our marinade. So I'm gonna put that to the side for a minute and move on to our beef. I just wanna salt the beef really well first. Bring back your marinade and just put your beef in there. And you wanna get it all covered with the marinade. Perfect. I'm gonna cover that and put it in the fridge to marinate for about 2 hours. Okay, my beef has been marinating now for actually close to 3 hours. So it smells so fragrant. So we're gonna go now and sear this, but first I'm gonna prep my veggies. So I've got an onion here that I've peeled, so I'm just gonna cut this in half. And then I also have some garlic, which I've already peeled as well, and just crushed them a little bit with the side of the knife. And next I'm gonna peel my carrots. And I just wanna cut off the ends, basically. There are actually some versions of this recipe where you cut a hole in your beef, kind of lengthwise, and you insert the carrot into it. And that's how it's cooked, but that's not the way I've ever made it, so I'll show you the way that I do it. Okay, everything's prepped now. Okay, I've got my hob and a heavy bottom pan here now, so I'm just gonna put some oil, just a little bit. My oil is kind of smoking now, so I'm just gonna grab my beef and put it in there carefully, and I want to sear all sides very well. Again, my heat is pretty high, and it'll probably take about 10 minutes to do all of the sides. Okay, it looks like it's ready on this side now, so I'm gonna flip it over. That's a nice cherry sear. So just continue doing that on all sides. In the meantime, I'm gonna preheat the oven as well to 170 degrees. Okay, I think it's ready now, so I'm gonna take this off. Those of you that are eagle-eyed may have noticed that my heat was way too high. So when I was searing my beef, the marinade burnt. So I don't want that burnt flavor throughout my beef roast. So what I'm gonna do is I've cleaned my pot and put some oil to heat up again. And there are some sides that I couldn't sear for long because everything was burning at the bottom. So I'm gonna sear those sides again and try to get those charry bits again at the bottom and build a bit of that flavor. Mistakes always happen in the kitchen, so I'd rather come clean than pretend that nothing happened. And this time I'm keeping a very close eye on my heat. Okay, I think that's it. So I'm gonna once again take my beef off for a second. This you can cook in the stovetop if you want, but because the meat is so big and we're gonna cook it for so long, it's gonna be very difficult to keep stirring it to make sure nothing sticks to the bottom. So I prefer to cook it in the oven. So what I like to do is to get my onions, I slice them in half and I'm gonna put them at the bottom of the pan. Put in your garlic as well and my carrots, which are whole. And I'm going to sit my beef on top. Then I can get the rest of my marinades. This still has delicious flavors, so want to make sure that we get that in there. So this marinade, remember, has our substitute for the Aji Panca, but because I happen to find some of the dried ones, I'm actually going to put this in here as well. So we will also get that traditional flavor. Next, I have some boiling water from the kettle. This is gonna help to cook my beef, but also hydrate my dried aji, and it's gonna infuse all the flavor into my sauce. I don't want it totally covered because I need this to reduce quite a lot. You can put the lid on, transfer this to the oven, and it's gonna cook for 2 hours or until the beef is nice and tender. Okay, it's been over 2 hours now, so my beef is ready. Let's see what it looks like. It's been bubbling away nicely. You can still see it's quite warm. But I did take it out a couple of times through the cooking periods to actually baste the top of the beef. So I'm just going to take out the beef itself. I did notice that it's released quite a bit of oil. There's this big layer of fat on top of the beef, which in hindsight I probably should have removed. So now, before I do anything else, I'm gonna want to let this sit a little bit for the oil to come to the top, and then I can skim off a lot of that oil. But actually, when I'm here, I'm gonna take off these carrots as well. Our peppers have really infused all their flavor throughout the braising liquid, which is now going to become our sauce. But in the meantime, I'm gonna get my sides ready. Okay, I have some water that I'm heating up to come to the boil. In the meantime, I'm just gonna peel my potatoes. My potatoes are completely different sizes, so I'm gonna cut this one down a little bit, just so they all cook evenly. Okay, and I'm gonna give them a rinse and put them straight into my water. This is what I'm waiting. I'm gonna get a head start on my carrots. I'm just gonna slice them kind of medium-sized chunks. They've been cooking for so long, it's like cutting through butter. While I'm waiting, I'm actually also gonna slice my beef now. It's had some time to rest and cool. I'm going to cut off the string. And actually, I'm gonna use the string marks as a guide to cut my slices, because they should give me pretty even ones. My sauce is cooled down a bit, and I was able to skim quite a bit of oil from the top. There's still a bit of oil in there, but I'm gonna blend it with my immersion blender, and that should help to basically put everything together. But also, since I have the onions here that the beef cooked in, I'm gonna put them in there because I think they're gonna help to thicken it up and also give a bit of extra flavor. Everything's mixed in. I'm actually gonna run through a sieve and then we're gonna continue. My potatoes are ready, so I've drained them and I'm gonna mash them. I'm gonna add in some butter. For this, I want a pretty creamy consistency to the mash. Some people like it very runny. I prefer them to have a little bit more body to them. I'm just gonna go in with some cream, a bit at a time, until I get the consistency that I want. Okay, that's my mash done. So let's put that to the side and let's just finish our sauce, and then we're ready to plate. I've put my hob on a low heat, and I just have my sauce here, which I did give it a bit of a taste. It tastes delish, but it's a little bit thin. I made my slurry here with some cornstarch and water. This will really help to thicken up our sauce, but I really don't want to overdo it. So I'm gonna go in with 1 tablespoon at a time, or maybe 2 actually. And then whisk that through, and you have to wait for the mixture to pretty much come to the boil, because that's when the cornstarch will become activated and it will start thickening. This sauce actually is pretty much like your standard gravy. If you were doing a Sunday roast, this is how you would make it. Okay, it's not getting as thick as I wanted to, so I'm gonna add in the rest of my slurry. At the time of serving, you can actually just take however many slices you need and just put them into the sauce to warm through the beef. Okay, all my different components are ready, so let's put them together. I've got some rice here, which I'm just gonna put onto my plate. Just like so. I'm going to put in a little bit of mash. I'm gonna grab my beef, which I'm just gonna lay on here. Grab a few of my carrots, and we can go in with our sauce. And that's your delicious plate. The time has come. I need to eat it. It smells so good. It almost looks too pretty to take a bite out of, but I'm gonna have to do it. That meat is so tender. Make sure I get some of the sauce, some mash, a little bit of rice, a carrot, beef. This is divine. All of the flavors complement each other so well. There's so many different textures. The mash is so buttery and creamy. You've got the sweetness from the carrots. The beef is so tender and full of flavor. And that sauce just kind of brings everything together. Oh my God, this is the best. If you've never had this before, do yourself a favor, try it today. That's it for this video. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, make sure you give it a big thumbs up and let me know in the comments below what you thought of it. Make sure you subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any of my amazing recipes that I've got coming up. But also check the previous videos in my Peruvian recipes series. You're absolutely gonna love them. With that, I leave you for this video and enjoy.